This study was about showing value of indirect contact to create a improved society. And it was just looking at the effect of indirect contact on intergroup relations, and then looking at the broader picture of how to improve society, which are the questions. Methods that were used include, it was mostly a consolidation of studies and review. They provide a summary of many relevant research studies that they use to form a framework. The authors discuss specifically extended contact, vicarious contact, parasocial or immediate contact, imagined contact, and electronic contact as their forms of contact that they're measuring. And they also evaluated how affect and social norms, or affect and social norms, act as mediators, the need for experimental studies in order to drive more positive change, and implementation of direct and indirect contact, and looking at how we might use indirect contact in policy and practice to create positive intergroup relationships and reduce prejudice of outgroups. And so the results of this study were that indirect contact can be absolutely helpful in improving intergroup relations and reducing prejudice. They said that, well, indirect contact may be able to affect larger groups specifically of people than direct contact, and can be used to encourage more positive intergroup relations and reduce prejudice versus just direct contact. And so the study almost argues that indirect contact can be just as useful, if not more useful than direct contact, because you can disseminate it to sometimes larger groups through various means. And there's different forms of indirect contact, like active and passive, that when working together, they argue can make indirect contact very useful for doing this. And they in their measured items of affect and social norms, they said they're critical to understand in order to use indirect contact efficiently. It's argued that direct contact, while it's very important for improving intergroup relations, again, indirect contact can work on a more massive scale because no direct contact is needed. And so the way that they describe this is, for example, through adjusting social norms. And so, yeah, the key takeaways are similar to what I've said before. They mentioned how electronic contact may be especially helpful in mediating situations, and relating it to COVID-19 with social distancing. But I'd be interested to hear more what you all think of this as well.
This is a great takeaway just for the current times we're in, right? With COVID and remote working. Yeah, I'm glad this was done recently too, to really incorporate COVID as to validate these results or help us psychologically right now with everyone working, and being quarantined and things like that. Like this is a good takeaway.
Yeah, I love this study. This is super important stuff because there's so much literature on contact theory and looking at these, doing this almost lit review on indirect contact and the different types of indirect contact and how it can be effective. I'm wondering, did you read this at all? No, I mean, did you dive into at all how the affect and social norms, how they mediated the relationship, or did they?
I was looking at it before before the meeting, but I didn't get the chance to read through the whole study. Let me look at it here. I can also send it in to you all as well, if that would be helpful, so I have it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'll pull it up too. It's just interesting to see. How many studies did they look at? Do you know?
Let me check.
I have it in here.
I'm thinking just the ways that are different nonverbals and communication styles, maybe it just being more critical to understand those within your colleagues more when you're kind of reliant on indirect contact, because things can easily get misinterpreted through emails and Zoom, and I don't know. I didn't read the study, but I'm just thinking.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, this is sort of talk, there's like this is sort of talking about indirect contact. So all these ways in which we have contact with other cultures or with other, sort of groups, outgroups, without having direct content, like
Mhm.
not even talking, email, anything like, it's like, how do we have indirect content through media or through like social media or through like vicarious, it says vicariously, I don't know what that means, but maybe hearing about other people that we know, their contact with those other, so.
Okay, yeah, vicariously, like through other people. So you hear from someone else about a cultural norm in India, and you're learning it vicariously, I think.
Yeah, like someone that's in your group tells you about a positive experience they had with someone in this other out group, and then you start, forming a different opinion of that out group or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they say that it's pretty much it's operationalized by asking participants to watch an ad hoc created video depicting positive intergroup interaction or interventions in natural contexts. And then basically just read short stories about.
That's the vicarious.
That's the vicarious. Yeah.
There's and then there's imagined contact, right? Or imagine.
Yeah, imagined contact.
Media contact. Well, I think it just goes to show the more familiar we become with other cultures or groups, the less scary they seem, the more trustworthy they become potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like the heart of contact theory, or just like the heart of social psychology, which is like we want predictive models of the world. People that we identify as group members, we have a better chance of predicting how they're going to act or what they believe and all that, and so they feel more trustworthy. And the more familiar we become with other people, the more trustworthy they become.
Mm-hmm. What a good light to shine on the digital age that we're in, right? Where we have all this access to information, and it can be used as a tool, but it can also be, harmful. However, this is shining a good light on it as a tool, helping us to reduce prejudice and just learn more about different cultures.
Yeah, and I think that's the key is like the type of content, because like that, what Noah was just saying, and I think just all of contact theory kind of indicates that it's not just contact, it's positive contact, it's positive stories about the others. It's, so like social media can be used as ways of showing positive intergroup contact. It can also a lot of times be used as like, look at all the tension between these groups, look at all, that kind of stuff. So
right.
There should be a positive only sort of social network or something, just like good stories about people getting along, something.
Yeah. You questioned earlier, Jeremy, the measures for the mediators of the indirect contact prejudice reduction relationship. Under the affect label, they list intergroup anxiety, which is the discomfort individuals feel when anticipating or experiencing intergroup encounters. And there's a large body of research that identifies intergroup anxiety as a mediating variable for indirect contact, including extended contact. So that's one, as well as outgroup empathy as a mediating figure here.
So anxiety was low and empathy was high, those were correlated with more positive outgroup assessments. Something like that. Lower pressure.
That would be my guess. Yeah, it doesn't say here specifically.
I think that's what a lot of this stuff says. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they show positive intergroup contact experiences alleviate feelings of anxiety and threat, which are then associated with decreased prejudice. Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. Do we have any other thoughts on this study before we go to the next one?
I like it.
Yeah.
Good.